Hello and welcome back to another Doctor Who action figure review. In today's review I'm going to be taking a look at one of the upcoming B&M exclusive releases, which is the History of the Daleks Set #1, featuring Daleks from the Daleks from 1963. So these are due to hit shelves at B&M Stores next month in July, and as ever a massive thank you to Evolution PR and Character Options for sending me this early sample to review. So let's begin by taking a look at the packaging. So the figures come packaged in a window box, very much in the same vein as the packaging that we saw with the Dr. Dalek 2-packs from last year. So it features the new classic series style guide with the blue and white and the TARDIS on the side, and it tells us what story and what year these Daleks are from. And then on the back it gives us a synopsis of the Daleks serial, as well as some history into the Daleks props, which is a new feature. We haven't seen this with the Doctor Who figures before. It goes into all the detail about why the parallel lines are on the back of these toys, why the irises are different sizes. They're very clearly targeting this stuff at collectors. I think that's really neat. I really like that. Then on the inside we have this beautiful render of the Dalek City from the original Dalek story. This is really lovely. This is something we've seen previously with the TARDIS sets, but we haven't really seen it as much with the 2-packs. The Dr. Dalek 2-packs did have some sort of Time War background last year, but this is specifically for the story these Daleks are from. You've got the little camera at the top there, and my version even features some authentic scuffing from the BBC prop boys. God, what amazing attention to detail. So, out of the box, here we have the two Daleks. Now, for a lot of you who've been collecting these figures since way back in 2008, you're probably going to see these Daleks and think, well, aren't these just exactly the same Dead Planet Daleks that came out in that very first Dalek collector set? They are incredibly similar. It is the same sculpt, and for the most part, it's all the same paint apps. But there are some new alterations, very subtle variations, it must be noted, but interesting and authentic variations nonetheless. So the main difference immediately, as soon as I took them out of the box, is how bright the silver is. They seem to have employed the same type of silver paint that they used on the Cybermen in the Silver Nemesis set last year. So these are a very bright, shiny metallic silver, and they look gorgeous because of it. And that is the same on all the silver parts. On the dome, the neck bin, the shoulders, the skirt, everywhere. Really lovely. Then the second obvious variation between the two Daleks in this set are the eye stalks. Now the eye stalks are exactly the same sculpt, but as you can see, one has a normal sized white iris and the other one has a teeny tiny dot-like iris. Now that's because the original Dalek props were fitted with lenses that would contract. And if you watch those original Dalek stories, you'll see that that adds a lot of character. So particularly with this one here, it really captures those moments when the Dalek's eyes are really squinting. And you can see here from this shot that this is almost a dead ringer for that sequence in Power of the Daleks, where the Dalek comes up to the camera and goes, "We are not ready yet to teach these human beings the laws of the Daleks." I'm almost 30. Anyway, that aside, it should be noted, however, there is a little bit of paint bleed on the eye stalk. Not massive amounts, but just a little bit. And this is the same on both Daleks. The black of the main bulb part of the eye has bled ever so slightly into the rings on the eye stalk. So something to look out for when you're going to get these sets. In fact, that is something that I have noticed overall with this set of Daleks. There is a bit of paint bleed here and there. So if we just move over to Dalek 1, the hemispheres seem pretty fine on his left-hand side. However, as you move around to the back, you've got a bit of paint bleed there just dripping down. And then on his right side, there are quite a few hemispheres that seem to have been touched up with blue paint afterwards. And I know this is something that they do in the factories when they make these toys. But the problem is, the difference between the two blues is quite stark. I'm not sure if you'll be able to pick this up so well on camera, but in hand, the base blue seems darker than the blue that they've touched it up with. I don't know if that's because the paint wasn't mixed properly. Who knows? But again, something to look out for. And it's the same on Dalek 2. He has the sort of opposite problem where he doesn't have that issue with the different colour blues, but he does have a few hemispheres that aren't quite fully painted. Something to bear in mind. Keep your eyes on your Dalek bumps. I'm sure that's what all the doctors on Skaro say to their patients. Check your bumps regularly. Another thing that's interesting to note is on the skirt. If you look at this hemisphere, there is just a little bit of a circular mark around it. I'm pretty sure this is where the button was on the sound effects version of this Dalek. I could be totally wrong. Someone in the comments, I'm sure you can confirm that for me. So it would appear that this Dalek mould has been taken from that. Who knows? Moving on to the shoulder section, you've got the lovely contrast of the matte grey from the brilliant silver. No paint bleeds here. All very nicely painted. A few little scuff marks on the gun boxes, but it's a 1960s Dalek prop. If it was pristine, that wouldn't be true to the original props. Same again with the plungers and the gun, silver and black, the silver of the gun stick, with all the nice sculpting of the interior sections as well that was lost on later Daleks. The next big difference from previous releases of this Dalek toy are the identification marks on the back of the shoulder section. So Dalek 2, as you can see, has 2 horizontal black lines on the back of him, and Dalek 1 just has a single one. So this was used for the people up in the gallery so they could tell which Dalek was which, so they could say, Dalek 2, could you move over here, please? And so on and so forth. It was just easier to give directions to the Daleks. That's a really fun little touch that they've added. It goes into real nerdy levels of authenticity, I have to say, but I can't say much because I love that kind of stuff. And again, it's just a subtle difference that sets it apart from the previous releases. Everything else, though, is pretty much the same, even down to the dome lights on the top. These have been cast in a sort of, not quite clear, but a sort of a frosted plastic. And the other variation, which was something I didn't even notice from the publicity pictures, is the fender actually has lots of scuff marks. There seems to be a sort of a whitish, greyish wash over the black of the rubber fender. That, again, just gives it another level of authenticity, as if the Daleks have been bumping into things, scuffing up against things, or that the BBC prop men have been smacking them up against things. Okay, so in terms of articulation, it's a Dalek, so it's going to be like any other Dalek figure that you've had before. So I'll just quickly go through using Dalek number 2. So we've got articulation at the head. This does 360-degree turns, as you can see. The eye stalk pivots up and down. The eye stalk is fixed, so you can't pull it out like on the original Dead Planet Daleks. The gun arms, all jointed, so the plunger can swivel round, slightly stiff on both of these. You can hear it, actually. You see? I don't know if that's because of the additional paint. That was actually quite a surprise to see that back. And of course, it's on 3 wheels. So overall, this may seem like it's not a huge difference from what we've seen before, but actually I really like the variations we have here. You could have sold this to me just with the different iris. When I saw that in the publicity pictures, I was like, that's a really neat idea. And it now means that you can do stuff like recreate the sequence where the Daleks are tripping on anti-radiation drugs. Help me, ah, ah. Just like that. I'm still nearly 30. And yeah, I think it's a really, really great little set. This is really handy for people who didn't get the figures the first time round. If you're an army builder, this is a really great set because this is priced at £19.99 for 2 Daleks. If you were to try and get the original versions second-hand on eBay, you'd probably be paying upwards of about £15 each. If it was the sound effects version, you'd be paying even more. I very stupidly didn't buy the sound effects version when it came out because I thought, oh, is this the same as the other Dalek? I regret that to this day. So if anyone's selling a sound effects Dalek, please let me know. You can contact me on Twitter. So thank you once again for watching. I hope this review has been useful to you. Like I said, these sets are due for release in July. So it was supposed to be mid-June, so sort of around now, but apparently it's been pushed back to July. So keep your eyes on B&M Stores for when these hit the shelves. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the review. And once again, a massive thank you to Evolution PR and Character Options for sending me these 2 Daleks over to review. So thanks for watching, and see you all again next time. Bye-bye.